Be sure to support the n.W.bro podcast by hitting the like button on this video, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/n.w.bro podcast and on Twitter, username n.w.bro podcast. Thank you for your support.
Hey everybody, this is Ian.
And I'm Rhett.
And you're listening to the n.w.bro Wrestling Podcast.
So welcome back to the n.w.bro Wrestling Podcast.
I'm here.
He's here. Ian's here.
We said I wasn't going to be here this week in the last episode, but I am here.
Right. You are here after all said and done. I'm here.
I am a liar.
He's a liar. So, anyway, this episode is being recorded on July 29th, 2017. I feel like I was about to say, I feel like I tried to say June or something. I don't know. I screwed up. Anyway, July 29th, 2017 is the date this episode is being recorded. A little bit late in the week, but hey, it's better than not at all, right? So, we're going to talk about a little bit of Battleground and how we did and our predictions for that.
Not well.
No, spoiler, it did not go well. And then we're going to talk about the episodes of Raw and SmackDown that followed it. Now, before we get started, I will like to point out that yes, the G1 tournament is underway with New Japan. However, unfortunately, we have not been able to keep up with it. At least I haven't. Have you looked into it at all?
I haven't watched all of it. That's a lie.
That is a lie.
I'm continuing to lie.
Wow, we're off to a riveting, just honest start so far. But, yeah, we know the G1's going on. We have not had a chance to keep up with it, watch it, nothing. So I don't know how it's going. I'm sure it's great, and I hate that I'm not able to watch it, but it is what it is. So all we're going to talk about this week is WWE, starting with the Battleground PPV that just happened this last Sunday.
Just get going with it then.
Let's get going. I thought this was a pretty trash pay-per-view, so let's just go ahead and get this knocked out and out of the way.
Well, we kind of had mixed opinions about it. Remember, I said I watched it with a couple people who don't watch wrestling a whole lot. And to be real, we were making fun of it most of the time when we were watching it. Mm-hmm. But, we were still enjoying ourselves. So, yeah, pre-show. Aiden English versus Ty Dillinger. Aiden English won that one.
Yeah, a bit of a surprising result, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who wins between these two guys because it's kind of just a filler feud in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's good that Aiden English has got a win under his belt under a talented wrestler such as Ty Dillinger. Kind of helps Aiden English's solo career that he's off to now since Simon Gotch is out of the picture. But still surprising big result, nonetheless.
So surprising that none of us called it right.
No, between me, Ian, and TJ, we actually got TJ's
we did get his results, and his were identical to mine.
Well, he got his predictions.
His predictions. But his were identical to mine, so me and him are going to tie regardless. So.
Right. But we all picked Ty to win this match, and we all failed miserably at this. Not a whole lot to say about the match itself. It was a pre-show match. It was what it was. One-on-one action. And Aiden English picked up the victory.
So that brings us into the tag team championship match between the New Day versus the Usos.
Yep. New Day with Kofi and Xavier.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It was really neat seeing them having Kofi and Xavier be the two competitors for this one, not having Big E in there. I thought it was really cool. I liked their chemistry together. I liked seeing the two fast guys.
I've always been a huge fan of, I don't know if huge is the word, but a big fan of Kofi Kingston.
I'd say I've been a pretty huge fan of Kofi Kingston for
especially back in the day, I was really pushing for a singles push. This is like 2008, 2009, somewhere in that area. And I believe he did get a bit of a singles push against Randy Orton for the championship, which inevitably came up, not working in his favor. But still, I've always been a pretty big fan of Kofi Kingston. And I like Xavier Woods a lot, too. I like this dynamic of the two quicker, smaller guys in there with over one of the smaller guys in there with the big powerhouse of Big E. Especially against the Usos, who are kind of, I'd say they're kind of a mix between high flyer and a bit of a power, because they're kind of bigger dudes, Not like huge, but you know what I mean, bigger set dudes. Bigger than your usual high flyers. Anyway, the New Day pick up the win in the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Yep, which would bring all three of us at this point to 1-1.
Indeed it would. So after that, we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin in just a standard singles match.
Yeah. I thought it was an alright little match.
The match itself was pretty good, and I thought the ending was pretty well done to keep both men looking strong. Shinsuke did pick up the win via DQ after Baron Corbin hit him with a chair. It's been almost a week since this happened, so I'm having to kind of remember
like that,
what took place.
Or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was a chair though. That sounds right.
Or was it a low blow?
It might have been a low blow.
I
It was a low blow.
I do not remember, honestly. I remember him winning by disqualification, or Shinsuke won by disqualification. So Shinsuke picks up the win, but it still makes Baron Corbin look strong, with him being the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. It was a low blow?
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually thought the ending of the match was okay. I just kind of thought what followed out on SmackDown a couple of days later kind of voided it out a little bit, but we'll get to that.
And that gave you a point.
Yes, I actually
you called
predicted
Shinsuke winning.
I did.
Me and TJ both had Baron. I mean, it's one of those where like, yeah, you were technically right, but one of those things. But like,
I mean, no, it's not. It's a legit thing because
you're right. You're technically correct, which is the best form of correct.
I'm absolutely correct. Just like you were absolutely correct when you called New Day winning over the Usos when the Usos disqualified themselves to keep the titles.
Also, just like I was completely correct, absolutely correct when I called old Mojo Rawley.
That's true.
That's true.
Andre the Giant. You still got that one. That's probably the biggest victory of the year so far.
Yeah, probably so.
In terms of predictions, but
so yeah, that would let Rhett move on to 2-1, and me and TJ both 1-2 at this point.
Right.
That then brings us into the 5-way elimination fatal 5-way elimination match.
Fatal match.
It's a fatal match.
Elimination by death only. That's.
But
I don't think the women's division on SmackDown can risk that. I don't think they can. I don't
because
think they can gamble
the
with
whole
killing.
women's division was in this match.
Save Naomi and Carmella.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yes. So the fatal 5-way elimination match between 5 women wrestlers to determine the number 1 contender.
I love this too because all 3 of us,
all
3 of us called Tamina winning it. And she was the first one out.
She was the first one out. But we did something a little bit different this time where we actually called a main winner. And then we kind of had since it was an elimination match, we had a secondary winner.
We did it where if we called the main winner right, it would be 2 points. And if we called the secondary winner right, it would be 1 point.
Yeah, we kind of did it to help with a tiebreaker situation, which, I mean, it
actually did.
It
did,
actually.
It absolutely did.
So,
I had Becky Lynch as my second choice. TJ had Charlotte. So we did actually differentiate on our second choice, but that's it. He had Charlotte and Rhett had Natalya, and it would just so happen Natalya was the winner.
Yep.
So Rhett would get another point there and move up to 4-1, and me and TJ would both be 1-3.
Wait, was I 4-1 already?
Yeah.
Damn. So this is where I just went.
Yeah, you went downhill
from here.
You wait, no, that doesn't make sense because you called the last match. So I guess you were 3-1. My bad. Yeah, you called these 2 wrong.
Okay, that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay, so you're 3-1 then.
Alrighty.
My B.
So okay. So yes, Natalya did pick up the win, so she is your number 1 contender to take on Naomi at SummerSlam. But keep in mind, Carmella does still have that briefcase. So, and SummerSlam being one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, you never know what might happen. So
I could see her using it.
I could see her using it. I could sort of see Natalya becoming champion.
Yeah.
Give us a nice heel champion. So.
Good old heel champion.
This next match was where I just went off my rocker with my prediction here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I looked ahead. I looked at our predictions rather than the actual.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But we'll go ahead and talk about this match anyway, since I've just brought it up. Just don't forget that we swapped these 2 matches. See what I'm saying?
I said, yeah.
Okay.
So that brings us into Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles for the.
I was going to talk about Cena versus Rusev because I had brought it.
What? I'm confused.
Okay.
This is the next match in the card. We're going to talk about the next match in the card.
Right. Did you not hear what I just said about?
Yeah, I heard you. It was stupid. We're going to go on the next match in the card. Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles.
I already segued into Cena versus Rusev.
No, you didn't.
Yes, when I said my prediction was off the rocker.
You started with this one. Because
I don't think this was
missed the next 3 in a row.
I don't think this was too bad of a. I don't think my prediction for this match could have been any worse than my prediction for Cena versus Rusev.
Okay, I mean, I agree.
Right.
But you still started going off the rocker here, and then you were completely off the rocker in Cena and Rusev.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, go ahead and talk about
John Cena and Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. God damn it.
For the United States Championship.
For the United States Championship.
AJ Styles United States Championship.
And we
Jesus
all
Christ.
three called AJ Styles. We were all three wrong.
Well, I mean, Jesus, he just won it unexpectedly at a house show, Madison Square Garden, I know, but he had just won the title just a few days prior.
Yeah.
And then he loses it back to Kevin Owens but I don't
Who
understand.
loses the championship within 3 days?
Well, I mean, that's not so crazy, but it's just like,
I'm making a joke.
given what
Based
happened
on
at
what's gonna
Battleground
happen
and then what happened at SmackDown, what was the purpose?
Just to make the match that happened at SmackDown make sense. That's exactly why.
Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. So you're right there, but still, it was this all planned out? Like AJ winning it at Madison Square Garden in the first place set this whole thing set this SmackDown plan into motion?
Yeah, I guess it did really, because I feel like if he didn't win it at Madison Square Garden, he would have won it here. But because they're like, oh shit, so and so is going to be coming back for SmackDown. Well, let's make it where it makes sense. So they worked it out.
I don't know if I give WWE's creative team that much credit.
I think that's what happened.
Maybe.
But so yeah, we all called it wrong. That brings. I'm not even going to say the numbers. That's winning by 1 still.
Yeah, so Kevin Owens regains his title back.
Yeah. So Kevin Owens is the new United States champion at the time.
2-time United States champion? 3-time.
3-time.
Yeah, because of the Jericho thing.
3-time.
Yeah.
That then brings us to John Cena versus Rusev.
Yep.
The dumbest decision you've ever made in your life.
I don't know about that, but it was pretty dumb.
It was pretty dumb. Ray had Rusev.
I did pick Rusev.
Me and TJ both had John Cena. There was no way John Cena and America was going to lose. There's just no way. You saw how...
I didn't put that much thought into it.
Did you see him saluting that flag as he was leaving? There was no way we weren't going to get that. Come on, man. Come on.
You know what? You're right. I'll eat crow on that one. I'll admit when I was completely wrong, and I was wrong with this prediction. So yeah, TJ and Ian called it correctly, smartly by picking John Cena to win this match. I called Rusev, so I lost. But John Cena did win this match. Flag match, where they had flag at each corner, America on one, Bulgaria on the other.
And I didn't hate the match.
Well, the match was fun.
It was a pretty decent little match. I called a lot that happened. I called a lot of the spots. Like in fact, I even said whenever those 2 tables are put up, I was like, John Cena's going to counter something. Put Rusev in the attitude adjustment, take him up the stairs, and put him through those tables. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So so it was a decent little match other than the calls, but yeah. Mm-hmm. So again, Rhett's still up by 1 at this point. No, I tied us. No? I'm confused.
No.
Rhett was up by 2. Now he's up by 1.
Okay,
that's
yes.
right.
That's what it was.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
So next up after that, you have Sami Zayn versus Mike Kanellis with Maria Kanellis, and just a singles competition. I called Mike.
We all called Mike.
Yeah, we all called Mike. Didn't
Man.
think Mike would lose his debut pay-per-view. We were wrong. I mean, I said before when we were predicting this that I've learned my lesson. It's going to be a long time before I predict Sami Zayn to win a match again because he just keeps letting me down. He keeps losing. And the one time I decided to go against the grain, he wins. He picks up a victory against Mike Kanellis. Good for him, though. I mean, good for him for getting a victory. Don't know what this does for Mike or what Mike's future plans will be here on out. He'll probably continue this feud with Sami Zayn and pick up a win somewhere down the road, I would assume. But no, Sami takes this one. And we all picked Mike, so we all lost this prediction.
And then that brings us into the main event of the night: Jinder Mahal, the modern day Maharaja, versus Randy Orton in a Punjabi prison match
for the WWE Championship.
For the WWE.
Third time these guys are fighting each other.
Third time.
And so my biggest concern going into this match was with all that bamboo from the Punjabi prison, if you could actually see what was happening inside with the camera. So they did a pretty good job with the camera.
I actually noticed it this time. Like I was like, man, that is kind of rough. Like,
yeah, I mean, it still wasn't great, but at least you could keep up with it.
Once they got into the second cage, it was a lot better. But when they were still in the ring, it was pretty rough.
Right. But I mean, they put on a well enough match given the gimmick of the match, which was still a stupid gimmick. But the way it ended is the biggest thing to talk about here because it looked like Randy Orton had it well in hand. He had Jinder under control down on the floor while Randy was trying to climb out of the second cage, which would, if he had done successfully, given him the WWE Championship back.
Yep.
when none other than the Great Khali makes his return, comes out to help Jinder out, and holds Randy in place while Jinder climbs out of the cage and retains his WWE Championship.
Indubitably.
I don't think this is a pure comeback return for Great Khali. I think this was pretty much like a one and done. I've read since this pay-per-view that it was done to help get Jinder over in India, because evidently India is not as welcoming of Jinder as what WWE had thought they would be, but Great Khali is huge in India.
Weird.
I know, but India loves Great Khali. And so I've read that they brought Great Khali in simply to help out Jinder and help get him over. Like, if the Great Khali approves, then we should too, that type of thing. I don't know how it worked out for him in the end, if that was their end goal. But like I said, I think this was kind of a one and done for Great Khali. I don't think he's back. I mean, in fact, and I pointed this out to you when we were talking about it yesterday, when Great Khali came out, they didn't even play his music. They played Jinder's music. I don't know if that was a mess up or what, but he came out to Jinder's own music. So that also tells me that he's not back for good. He wasn't on SmackDown, or at least not when I was watching. I did miss a little bit of SmackDown, but I didn't see him on there.
They talk about him, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course they're going to talk about him, but I mean, he wasn't there. You think since if he made a big return, he'd be on the show after the pay-per-view he returned at.
But we'll get into SmackDown when we get into SmackDown.
Yeah.
But
so Jinder retains, which is great. Randy Orton does not need that title back. This feud needs to be done, and it appears that it is, given what happened on SmackDown. So, good. Jinder's still the champion, and all is right in the world.
Yep. And that will bring our overall score for this pay-per-view. We're at 1-1.
Yes, I finally won a pay-per-view with a losing record.
With 4 out of 9. 4 out of 9 points.
Yep.
So, and me and TJ tied at 3 out of 9 points. So,
hey, W's a W. So.
Yeah. We all had a pretty bad showing, but hey, whoever's not having the worst day,
Again, not the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen, but I really didn't enjoy it. I wasn't really feeling it, which our situations were different because you were watching with friends.
Yeah.
I watched by myself at my house, and honestly, there was times where I was very tempted to take a nap. In fact, I think I dozed off a couple of times during the pay-per-view, so I really didn't like it that much, but hey, it's just lead up to SummerSlam, which hopefully is better than last year's debacle with the Orton-Lesnar busting open the forehead thing.
Oh, God.
So anyway, we'll go ahead and get into Raw. Let's see here. Get this pulled up. Let's get Raw stuff pulled up here.
This is Raw, but it's live updates, so this isn't the right thing.
Yeah, we got the wrong thing pulled up. So, Raw...
Just go ahead and start talking about it.
How did Raw start off? I don't remember.
Go ahead, Rhett. You got it.
That's the same thing. No, it doesn't. Okay, this is it. Okay. Sorry, now we're back. we had our wrong notes pulled up there. All right, so yeah. Raw started off with Kurt Angle, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman, basically trying to figure out who's going to be the number one contender for Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship at SummerSlam. Which, weren't they supposed to have a one-on-one fight, or was it just always planned to...
No,
Kurt Angle would come out.
Kurt Angle came out first, and then Strowman interrupted, and then Reigns, and then then Joe, and then Reigns.
Right.
So they all came out. I don't know if they were supposed to have a match. They just all just.
Sometimes I want to say like last week they planned a one-on-one number one contenders match between Strowman and or was it Reigns and Samoa Joe last week? Either way, all three men were involved with Kurt Angle this week to determine who the number one contender was, and if you can't pick one, why not pick all? So Kurt Angle made the call that it's going to be a fatal four-way match at SummerSlam for Brock Lesnar's championship between Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and Braun Strowman. Afterwards, after the announcement, Braun Strowman destroyed everybody in the ring, and he had to get roster people from the roster out to help hold people back, and it ended with Strowman looking strong.
All right, I want to get early prediction for this for Fatal 4-Way.
Ooh, who do I want to see win? Probably Joe. Probably want to see Samoa Joe win. Who do I think's going to win? Probably Roman Reigns, because I still think they're riding on Roman Reigns.
I am going to go with who I want to win, being Braun Strowman.
Yeah,
and because out of the choices,
I mean, if it's not Joe, then Braun. That's me. I do love Lesnar, but I'm
want him holding.
I'm a
it
bigger
all
fan of like title swapping than I
Yeah.
am people retaining, just depending on who it is. And I don't want Lesnar holding the title for a whole year. I've been vocal about this before. So,
yeah, I think it's gonna. I mean, I want it to be Strowman. I think it'll probably be Reigns.
I mean, it could be. I mean, this might be where they put these plans in motion. Oh, of course, they wanted Reigns to. They moved it up, didn't they? Because the WrestleMania plans
was Lesnar and Reigns, but they might still be planning that.
They might be, especially since it's a Fatal 4-Way now.
Yeah.
And I think they want Reigns to challenge for the title. So I don't. Maybe given that logic, Reigns won't win this championship.
Honestly, I'm kind of thinking it could be Strowman.
I'm kind of thinking Lesnar might retain. Honestly, now that I think about it, the more thought I put into it, I think Lesnar might actually retain this title.
That would go a long way of showing him being like a dominant force, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if he beats 3 other people, who's going to beat him between now and WrestleMania?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if he retains at SummerSlam. I'm not sure Lesnar will lose that title between now and Mania. And this could be their way of building up the Giant so that Reigns can take him down and hopefully get some push on or some positive feedback on his side. It's not going to happen. People are going to boo Reigns forever. So unless something drastic happens, unless you turn him heel. If you turn him heel, I think that's the best scenario here.
It ain't gonna happen.
If it hasn't happened by now, he tried to kill a man last pay-per-view.
He tried to kill a man.
He tried to kill Braun Strowman, but he's not heel, so whatever. Anyway, well, we'll do our predictions here. When's SummerSlam? It's still a few weeks off, right?
Yeah.
So we got time. We'll get our predictions in between now and then.
Yeah, our plans might change. You know what we think, what might be what.
So after that, you had Finn Balor versus the Drifter Elias Sampson for like the umpteenth time in a row.
But it was a good match.
It was actually a pretty good match. No DQ.
Good match.
Which led, because of the no DQ, Finn Balor had the upper hand majority of the match.
Hit the coup de grace.
Hit the coup de grace. At one point, had Elias Sampson trapped between the ring apron and the ring and just beating the hell out of him. But because it was no DQ, it allowed Bray Wyatt to interfere.
Hit his sister Abigail.
On Finn.
Yeah, and Sampson was able
and Elias capitalized and picked up the pin. So Elias actually, he has a pinfall win over Finn Balor. I think it's his first pinfall win over Finn. I think. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it is.
Which, I mean, it's not bad because at least Finn didn't get beat up outright by Elias Sampson, and it did give Elias
so it kind of makes both
a
people
pretty relevant victory, yes.
Yeah, that then brought us into Enzo Amore versus Big Cass. It was
this is still going on. Enzo still didn't stand a chance against Big Cass.
He put up a more of a fight.
He had a little bit more offense this time around.
That doesn't mean a lot.
No, didn't really amount to anything.
After the match, Cass continued kind of beating up on Enzo when Big Show came out and was going to come protect Enzo, but Cass managed to hit a kind of a sheepish shot on Big Show and just kind of proceeded to beat the shit out of him. And
so they're clearly setting up Big Show versus Big Cass for SummerSlam.
Yeah, it's going to be a big match.
And which I think Enzo will probably interfere with and probably lead to a victory for Big Show. Honestly, I think Big Show will probably take it this time around. But like I said, we got plenty of time for predictions. A lot of stuff can happen on Raw between now and then, so we'll see. But if I was to book it now, that's probably how I would book it. Give Big Show the win over Cass at the moment with some interference from Enzo, and then maybe give Cass the win during a rematch or something. So after that, we had a squash match between Nia Jax and Emma.
One of the biggest upsets.
Nia Jax picked up this win pretty easily. Yep. Moving on.
Yeah.
Akira Tozawa. He's got his arm, his shoulders have been a bit injured in a sling based off some confrontation he had with I don't know how to say this dude's first name. Davari, though, not the older Davari from way back when. It's a new Davari. I think it's like his brother or something. But anyway, Araya Davari, whatever. But anyway, because of a loss to him and an attack he endured the night after, Akira Tozawa's arm's all messed up. But he's backstage getting interviewed, saying that he's going to get his rematch against Davari tonight. Which Titus interferes and says, "Look, man, your shoulder's messed up. So for the best intention for you, I went and had this match canceled," which enrages Tozawa. He marches out to the ring, demands that Davari comes out and does this match anyway. But instead of Davari, we have Neville come out and just talked some smack to Tozawa, saying that he shouldn't have bought into the Titus brand. Now he's pathetic, and which led to these two guys getting into a bit of a fight. But at the most opportune time, Daivari actually interfered and took out both men.
Yeah.
So Daivari standing tall, might get a triple threat at SummerSlam between these three guys for the Cruiserweight Championship.
I mean, who cares? But cool.
It's getting about time for Neville to drop that Cruiserweight Championship. He's had it for a long time.
Honestly, should have lost it to Austin Aries, but I mean...
And that's not going to happen.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Austin has...
Left the building.
He's going somewhere else. I still don't know if I've
Taking
heard
his talents to South Beach.
I still don't know if there's any word about where he's going or if he's even showed up somewhere yet. But he's not in WWE, which is kind of sad, but at least he had a WrestleMania pre-show, but at least he got a WrestleMania match during his short time with the WWE. So we had a number one contenders match for the women's championship between Sasha Banks and Bayley. And this was a pretty brutal match between two good friends, which, we predicted Banks was going to turn heel months ago. She never did. So they remained good friends, but they didn't hold anything back during this match. It was a pretty violent back and forth. Some decent spots here and there, but ultimately Bayley did pick up the win off a reverse roll-up. Banks pinned her first, which Bayley reversed into her own pin. And picked up the win, so it looks like they're going to have Bayley versus Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam.
Again.
Hopefully this is a better match than the shit shows they've put on until now. So
it was a pretty good little match, though.
Yeah. But I still do think that all this is still a build towards Banks turning heel in the future. Just based off some things that were said earlier in the night between her and Bayley and the way she did go about this match. I still think Banks will turn heel later on in the future. So, after that, we had Kurt Hawkins versus the newly discovered son of Kurt Angle, Jason Jordan. Bit of a longer match than most of Kurt Hawkins' match, but he did job out still to Jason Jordan, so Jason Jordan did pick up a singles victory.
And looked good doing it.
Oh, yeah, he did. He looks like $1 million, and... I think Jason Jordan's pretty cool, so I'm down for a push. I'm just curious to see what happens between him and Angle, because this has been way too positive so far. Angle announced him as his son. Jason Jordan was on board with it.
I think it'll stay positive. I think it's
maybe it will, because I do kind of like it.
Push.
I do kind of like the dynamic between two of them, but you know how wrestling works. This will go sour somewhere down the road, surely, unless one of them gets released from the company. So, but we'll see what happens. Afterwards, we had the club, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows versus the Revival of Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. As far as this match was concerned, it was a pretty good tag team match on Raw, which saw the Clobbers, the club get the upper hand throughout majority of the match. There's a bit of an interruption between the Hardy Boys. They literally just walk out on stage and kind of get the distraction, which both teams of the Revival and the club noticed, but ultimately the Revival were able to get the victory over the club. Afterwards, Matt and Jeff ran to the ring and took out the Revival.
And with the poetry in motion, and went to go hit the Swanton Bomb. No, he also hit a Twist of Fate.
Yes.
Which he said delete with, so that was cool.
He did. Still more just little hints here and there of broken Matt and Jeff. So I think we're getting close. They are definitely taking their time. It is a slow burn, but
music, guys.
But it should prove very entertaining for when they finally make that call to have Broken Matt show up. Okay, so our main event is the reunion of Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, 2/3 of the Shield, versus The Miz and The Miztourage, which is The Miz, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel. Now, there's been some not controversy, but confrontation between Ambrose and Rollins, because Rollins is kind of on like his redemption tour right now.
Yeah.
He knows what he did back in the day was wrong when he backstabbed the Shield and joined up with Triple H. He's acknowledged all that. He's trying to redeem himself. Just so happens that his and Ambrose paths have crossed because of their common enemy, The Miz. Ambrose is having a really hard time trusting Seth Rollins, and for good reason. I don't really blame him. Evidently, he's not as forgiving as what Roman Reigns is, because Roman Reigns seems to have already buried that hatchet. But they did team up, and successfully team up to take out The Miz and Miztourage. They did pick up the victory. Afterwards, in the ring, they're trying to celebrate, or Ambrose is pumped, like he's trying to celebrate the match.
And he even kind of pumps with Rollins a little.
Yeah, Rollins is a little hesitant. He kind of knows how Ambrose feels about it, so he just kind of gets back in the ring. Ambrose does a little bit of a chest push, like a positive, hype up chest push. We did it. He's excited. Rollins goes for
No. They even embrace for just a split second.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Rollins actually
kind of quick hug, yeah.
Yeah, Rollins kind of takes him, and you kind of tell Dean's just like, whatever. And that's when Rollins goes for the shield fist bump.
Yeah, put the fist out there. Ambrose kind of sees it and just leaves. Kind of just gets out of the ring.
You can tell he's got feelings about it, because he kind of stops and looks back, and then keeps going and then stops again. Like he kind of keeps hesitating, but ultimately he just leaves Rollins hanging. So
yep. So it is curious to see whether WWE are going to put these two guys back on the same page, put them back on the same team, or if this is actually going to lead to another one-on-one between these two. It's going to be a very different story this time around, because before, Rollins was pure heel, and Ambrose was still mad about the Shield thing, about the Shield breaking up and Rollins backstabbing him. Now they're both face, with Rollins trying to save face with Ambrose. So if they do end up doing a one-on-one, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it, because I don't think they're going to turn Rollins heel again anytime soon. I feel like, if anything, Ambrose might go heel before Rollins does at this point. But I still don't think either one's going to happen. So anyway, we'll see what happens from this, but right now it kind of looks like there might be something between Ambrose, Rollins, and The Miz and the Miztourage at SummerSlam. That's kind of what's looking like. Probably a Intercontinental Championship match. I don't know, maybe a triple threat. Who knows? So there's still a lot of Raw between now and then. We'll see what happens.
Overall, decent Raw.
Yeah, Raw was okay. Raw was fine. SmackDown, on the other hand, was pretty good. Pretty good episode of SmackDown, if I do say so myself. We kick off SmackDown with Kevin Owens coming out with his newly won U.S. title. He's the face of America gimmick. Got the suit. Got all that going on again. Says that the title's back in the right hands. It's all is right in the world, and he's going to be reinstating his open challenge starting next week in heel fashion. He also says that he would never defend the title in front of Virginia. In front of the Hicks of Richmond, Virginia, which simple heel tactics, but it works. AJ comes out then, says he is owed a rematch, and he wants his rematch right now, which Owens. Which Owens, shoots down. He says, it's not going to happen. I just said I'm not going to defend my title. Which then we get a surprise return from none other than Chris Jericho, which I was not expecting, because I know he's...
Break the walls down!
Yeah, I guess he's in a little bit of a break with the Fozzy thing, because as far as I know, they're still on tour.
Or maybe they were on... Maybe it just lined up that they were playing.
They might have been. They might have just been in the same place at the same time. So, either way, but Chris Jericho comes back and acknowledges that he never got a rematch after he lost the title to Kevin Owens. So he wants his rematch. So Shane comes out, does the right thing, and says there's going to be a triple threat between Owens, Jericho, and Styles. God, my brain, guys. Brain's just shutting down completely. And it's going to take place on this episode of SmackDown, and winner gets the title. So we've got that to look forward to. He sets up our main event. Of course, Owens is upset about it, but when's he not? So after that, we actually have Shinsuke Nakamura versus Baron Corbin in a rematch from Battlegrounds, which Shinsuke wins clean. So this is what I was saying before. I don't really get the finish of the Battlegrounds match when you leave both men looking strong if Shinsuke is just going to pick up the win cleanly anyway 2 days later. But he did, which is...
That goes into what we were just talking about earlier, about where we think they may go with this story.
That's true, but either way you look at it, Baron Corbin just lost cleanly to Shinsuke Nakamura after looking strong.
Right, but it's really the only way they could do what they're wanting to do. Like, why would Shinsuke have the opportunity he's going to have later on in this episode if he lost this match?
I feel like you could, yeah, but then again, I feel like you could have booked a different match instead of a rematch between these two guys.
Maybe so.
And it would still serve the same purpose. See, if there's like a triple threat or something that he was part of and won, then you could say, oh, well, maybe that was a pseudo number one contenders match, so to speak.
Maybe so. Whatever. But That then brings us to a tag team match between Charlotte and Becky Lynch versus Tamina and Lana. I mean,
still don't really understand what's going on between Tamina and Lana necessarily. Lana's looking very cowardly during this match.
The match ends with Lana actually tagging herself in and just getting immediately just beat.
Yep.
So
by Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Charlotte picks up the win for her team. So still don't really know what they're doing with Tamina and Lana. But I am curious. I guess we're just setting up kind of a... I mean, I guess we're just setting up a tag team between the two of them, but we still don't know what Tamina's reasoning is behind all of it. So... But either way, Charlotte and Becky Lynch get the win. They're both looking strong going into the next week of SmackDown Live. It's a blow-off for next week.
That then brings us to Jinder Mahal coming out and saying, he crushed Randy Orton's legacy and whatnot, but now he needs to know who his opponent will be at SummerSlam. And I want to go ahead and point this out. Something I actually really like about Jinder Mahal is, he's a heel, but he's actually coming out and being like, I want to know who's next and stuff like that. Like, I like that. Like,
I mean, it's kind of honestly like, depending on which era you look at, it kind of reminds me of old school heel Triple H. Triple H, strutted around like he was the top champion. No one could beat him. And, he still was kind of heel where he's like, I'm not wrestling tonight or whatever. I'll wrestle next week. But he still acted like he was the man in charge, but he was winning matches with the help of others, like Evolution or DX. Much like Jinder Mahal is acting, he's the man in charge. He wants to know who his opponent's going to be. But he's winning these matches with the help of, like, the Singh brothers. Or the Great Khali, depending on...
Yeah.
So... but yeah, he comes out demanding to know who his SummerSlam opponent is, which brings out John Cena. John Cena comes out and says he's going to be the SummerSlam opponent. He's going to walk out of SummerSlam as the 17th time WWE champion, and which that in itself actually seems like a pretty good match. I mean, it's
he also does, before he says all that, he does come out and say that he actually does respect Jinder Mahal for acting the way he's been acting
and being in the best shape of his life
and all that stuff, but he also was just like, I like the line because he was like, it's nice to meet you, you can't see me, hit the trumpet.
Right.
So his theme starts playing. I thought that was kind of cool.
He even acknowledged himself as Super Cena at one point. That was kind of neat.
But yeah, as Cena is trying to leave, out comes Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan's just like, wait, you both had great victories at Battleground, that's all great and everything, but just because your name's John Cena doesn't mean you get to make the matches. In SmackDown, opportunities are earned even if your name's John Cena, So he's just like, so what we'll do is we will give you a chance to earn that opportunity, and that'll be in a match next week against Shinsuke Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have John Cena versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a number 1 contendership match next week on SmackDown for the the WWE Championship. I keep doing that for some reason.
So, yeah, it does set up a bit of a dream match between Shinsuke and John Cena, which I'm actually really looking forward to. And this might actually set into motion our prediction we had before about Shinsuke maybe being champion heading into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and predict Shinsuke to win next week because I just don't know if they're ready to pull the trigger on Cena becoming the 17th champion, completely just eclipsing Ric Flair.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. But either way, yeah, I'm really excited about this match next week between the two of them.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind, Baron Corbin does have the briefcase, so that could also come into play at SummerSlam.
See, that's what we were saying earlier was, I personally, it may change between now and SummerSlam, but I personally think Shinsuke wins next week.
Yep.
Then he manages to beat Jinder Mahal for the title, and then Baron Corbin cashes in immediately, pins Shinsuke for the title, and that then continues the Shinsuke Baron Corbin feud, but for the title at that point.
Yeah.
So, I think that'd be good. But that then takes us into a tag team match between Aiden English and Mike Kanellis with Maria Kanellis versus Sami Zayn and Ty Dillinger. Kind of a short match.
Well, yeah, a little bit. But I mean, at least, again, I know it's a tag team match, but Sami Zayn picks up the win, and Ty Dillinger gets a much needed win. When was the last time we saw Ty win anything?
For real.
So
yeah, that was pretty nice.
Again, I don't know what we're going to see with Mike Kanellis from here forward because he's in a couple of serious losses. But
that then brings us into the Usos. Not the Usos. The New Day going to come out to celebrate their tag team championship win, and they get attacked before they can even come out. Like as they're doing their
mid introduction when Big E's usually doing the get on your feet and stand for your
and
tag
pelvic thrust for your tag team champions.
Yeah. Like, in the middle of that, you can hear him get attacked, and they come out on stage, and, the Usos are beating up the New Day. Big E kind of shows up to sort of save the day, but he gets beat up too, so the Usos don't give the New Day a chance to celebrate the new tag team championships, and they go out on top on this particular night.
We also have a short backstage segment after that of Nakamura getting interviewed about his match with John Cena next week, and he said that John Cena can't see him, and then he will see Jinder at SummerSlam for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, very little words from Shinsuke, but I think he's still working on his English.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Get what you can out of him.
Yeah, but that then takes us to our main event, the WWE United States Championship triple threat match for the I already said that, for the United States Championship between Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, and Chris Jericho.
Yep.
Pretty good match.
Pay-per-view caliber match.
Yeah.
A lot of false finishes, a lot of finishes in general. At one point, Chris Jericho eats a super kick plus what was it? He ate like two that should have beat him. No, it was a super kick into a pop-up powerbomb that he kicked out of towards the end of the match, At one point, AJ jumps up on the ropes to do his phenomenal forearm. Jericho counters by basically jumping into position for like a lion salt, and he kicks
his legs out from under him.
Kicks AJ's legs out from under him before he can jump off the ropes.
And takes a pretty good bump.
Yeah.
AJ did.
Jericho has some good moves. Had some good spots in this match. But it did not work out for him because during another Kevin Owens trying to capitalize and pin Chris Jericho, he hits him with a I forget what he hits him with.
Hits him with the pop-up power.
A frog splash.
He hits him with the pop-up powerbomb, gets a 2 count. Then he jumps up, hits the frog splash off the top rope.
Right.
And before he can get the 3 count, Styles jumps in, grabs Owens, throws him out of the ring, and then covers Jericho and gets the 1, 2, 3. So AJ Styles, 2 days after losing the title, picks it back up.
Within the span of like a week and a half, becomes a 2-time U.S. champion after he wasn't a champion, didn't have the title to begin with beforehand.
Yeah.
So, so awesome, cool cameo return, so to speak, from Chris Jericho. Led to an awesome triple threat match, one of the best matches I've seen on SmackDown in a long time, pay-per-view caliber match, and AJ Styles picks up the U.S. title again, which infuriates Kevin Owens, who says there's going to be a rematch next week.
It does lead to Owens saying he's going to have his rematch. So, so we will.
I don't expect to see Chris Jericho back on there. I think this was kind of a one and done, kind of a cameo return. But it still set up a really fun night of wrestling, really fun episode of SmackDown. And probably going to get AJ versus Kevin Owens at SummerSlam for the U.S. title. But good for AJ. So he's 2-time champion. And maybe what you said before, maybe WWE Creative had this all planned from the get-go, and this led to this particular episode of SmackDown, which, again, it's hard for me to give them credit to do that. Like, I just don't think they have it in. They're smart enough. I don't know. I just don't know if that's just like them to think that far in advance. But if they did, then I give them a ton of credit for pulling it off. It led to a really great... To go that far to make a good episode of SmackDown, I think says a lot. And it worked. A good episode of SmackDown. So, yeah, that's how we ended SmackDown this week and our week of WWE in general. So,
overall, I thought it was a pretty good little week.
Yeah, pretty good few days of wrestling. Like I said, the pay-per-view was kind of meh in my opinion, but Raw was pretty, in your words, pretty decent, and SmackDown was really, really good. Yeah. So, pretty solid week of WWE overall, I thought. And, so that's going to be about all we have to talk about this week until next week when we cover Raw and SmackDown and maybe anything else going on.
Maybe a little bit of G1.
Maybe a little bit of G1. We have kind of tossed around the idea of maybe restructuring the podcast a little bit so we can talk about a little bit more than just WWE. because of our limited availability, we can only do the podcast once a week like we do right now. So there's going to be a lot to cover in our episodes. So maybe we'll do more of a topic-based discussion about WWE rather than just recapping it. That way we can talk about more stuff such as New Japan, Ring of Honor, Global Force Wrestling, just whatever else is going on. It would be very interesting to hear the listeners' feedback on this. So let us know in the comments, email, Twitter, what you guys think. If you think we should keep the same format we got going now, or if you think we should change it up a little bit. If you have an opinion on it, just let us know, and we'll listen and take it into consideration. Again, the ways you can keep up with us is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, which I have yet to start really using the Instagram, but we're on all three platforms. n.W.bro podcast is our username. We also have the email, nwbropodcast@gmail.com. So those are all the best ways you can keep up with us. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out. It helps keep us going when we get that kind of feedback. Even if it's just a like, even if you don't leave a comment or a subscribe or a like, that goes a long way with us. This keeps us motivated to keep doing this. And we've got a pretty good amount of likes, so far, in my opinion, so far since we started. So, yeah, we're pretty motivated right now, and that's why we're considering restructuring podcasts, doing whatever we can take to evolve it to that next level, and give you guys the best content that we can put out. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up for us. So, Ian, you got anything to end with?
Nah, man. I'm good.
Cool. So, all right. Well, until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Adios.